Hey, good evening. Welcome to Conversations with Friends. In tonight's episode, we will be talking about a very interesting topic. Have black women lost their grace? The topic is a topic that was decided to be talked about based off of a interview that Yala Vincent and Ebony K Williams did about a year ago. One clip went viral because she said, "Will you date a will you date a bus driver?" She said no. Then she got into it with DJ Envy during the Breakfast Club in reference to the clip. So as of right now, I can't play the clip unfortunately because things are running a little slow with this weather. But Melodic and myself will have a discussion in reference to have black women lost their grace. Good evening, young lady.
Good evening, Q. Hey, everybody. Mm.
Wow. Um, like I was saying, like we were discussing behind the scenes, the clip, like I said, sometimes I think that a lot of interviewers, when they go into interviews, they go in there with you basically let the interviewee, like, we're going to talk about this particular subject. They were talking about Yolanda Vincent's program that she has.
Mm-hmm.
And it appeared to me, and I know I could be wrong, that Ebony came in there trying to get Ayala to affirm a narrative that I believe that Ebony K Williams has. Now, let me, for the sake of the show, I might not be the biggest Ebony K Williams fan, but I do know how to look at things objective. The only reason why is because to me, Ebony K Williams is definitely, she's an educated sister,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of her talking points come from, in my opinion, a feminist gender war rhetoric. It fits into the narrative. A lot of the things that she say, definitely when it comes to relationships, I think she fits into this narrative that black men and black women have to be beefing
Have to be at odds, absolutely.
over accomplishments, tangible things, money, and this is why that clip eventually went viral because she said she couldn't. And then after the clip, you hear Ayala saying like, "Yo, I'm gonna have my prenup, and we're gonna build together." And for lack of better words, I can't speak for Melodic, but this is why I think Melodic really wanted to discuss this because you very rarely hear younger people who aren't in relationships that talk about relationships talking about building with someone. It's always, what are you bringing to the table? What are you bringing to the table? I got this, I got that. So we all know what Conversations with Friends is about, and we're a proponent of being able to conversate and have these type of discussions. Melodic.
Agreed. Okay, so let's dig into it. So, I thoroughly appreciated the conversation that Ebony K. Williams and Ayam Van Sant actually had. Um, Ebony K. Williams, I think you have to look at where she's coming from, and you also have to look at um, her position, her station in life. She's a lawyer. Um, it sounds like she's had a lot of negative experiences with men and dating. It also sounds like she did not have a lot of positive male role models in her life when she, if you listen to the clip, or it was either on in that clip or when she was on the Breakfast Club talking to DJ Envy and Charlemagne, and she referenced like her father. She didn't have her father in her life, etc. And she made rather negative comments pertaining to men in her life, or father figure, male role models, etc. So it doesn't seem like she's had very positive experiences with men in general. Not to mention the fact that she's a lawyer, and I agree with what Ayanna Van Sant said about being a lawyer, that it's a very masculine job. You constantly have to be on your toes. You're always fighting someone, and definitely fighting to be the best. So I think that when you're constantly in that environment, it actually changes the way you think. It changes the way you interact with people. You're constantly on the defensive, etc. So I think a lot of that plays into her work life, and it actually rolls over into her personal life as well. And I think that sometimes as women, sometimes we can be our own worst enemies when we don't do some self reflection and recognize that, hey, yeah, you can have a certain career, etc., but that job and that money is not going to keep you warm at night. And sometimes you do have to allow yourself to be a feminine woman, and that doesn't mean that you're weak.
Unfortunately, I
Hmm.
did. I think that Ebony K Williams, when she went back to the Breakfast Club, in my opinion, I think she started nigga splaining. She did give some context in reference to her father. They weren't her and her mother. Her father and her mother wasn't together, and I think a lot of times people take on the bitterness. People take on this body armor of whatever circumstances that they're in, and they use this as a shield, and they perceive every situation that they've went through with this lens or with this criteria. I think it's funny because she had since did this. Like I said, this clip was over a year ago, and then she came back like 4 or 5 months after that and really, really explained a different position, but she still was like 10 toes down with not dating a bus driver. Um, I think that one of the things that's interesting about this whole dynamic is that we actually see these type of dynamics, and this is why we need to understand that entertainment is indoctrination. And it reminded me of the scene from Deliver Us from Eva when he picked her up in the meat truck.
Right, right,
He looked like, and then he said he was saving up for a house and he lived with his, like, he said all the things that she had, quote unquote, deal breakers on. And come to find out through the movie, he eventually was the perfect guy for her,
right,
challenged her, supported
right.
her. And I think that a lot of times we know that art imitates life, that some of us nowadays will look at a movie like that and be like, I'm not going to be her. Like, for some reason, we have this thing that if we sacrifice and build with somebody, that we're going to look stupid in the end or dumb in the end. I mean, if you're in a relationship with somebody, y'all both doing right by each other, you're gonna build together. You're gonna accumulate things, whether
Right.
you want to or not.
Agreed.
You're gonna do things together, and then you're gonna build. You're building a life together. You're building happiness. You're building beautiful events. Like me, I love Baltimore. I'll never forget the first time I ever went to Baltimore and how I view the city. I happen to have been with somebody at the time in Baltimore, so Baltimore is always a special place for me. I just happen to have been in a relationship with someone at that time,
Mm.
and I really enjoyed the city.
Okay.
So when you look at those of us, I'll just say over 40. I think that a lot of us over 40, I hate to say it, we're taking our cues from all the wrong things nowadays. Some people are,
Mm.
because this ain't us. Like, people be like, you melodic, a clip. Now, I'm not trying to go too far off the topic, but a clip will go viral on social media, and it could be somebody under 30 who haven't experienced what most people experience, whose situation has nothing to do with nobody's situation, and we'll personalize our situation into theirs instead of being objective.
Right.
Like I
Right.
don't know no, like I will tell you, I don't know no women like Ebony K Williams. I know women who say some things that may be like, huh? But majority of the women I know, they may say, "Oh, I want this from a guy, I want that from a guy, I want this from a guy," and vice versa. A man may say that, but they all have dated and date people that may not have been this criteria that they set in their head. It may be you're like, oh, I didn't know if I was gonna give him my number, but I'm glad I did because he's a really nice guy. He treat me well. He basically knocking me off my feet. But I didn't even think I was gonna give him my number because of the way he acted, or vice versa. Like I wasn't really feeling her, but it was something about her.
Well,
So
I know quite a few women who are like Ebony K Williams. I think, depending on what industry you work in, you run into um, a lot of different characters. So I will say that I do find that not all, but I do find that some black women um, have had it pretty hard when it comes to the whole dating arena, especially um, nowadays. So I think that a lot of that conversation has a lot to do with fear. It has a lot to do with not wanting to be taken advantage of or not wanting to be hurt again. So, if I, box myself up in this cage over here and I have like this long list of desires and, I don't allow anyone into my space, then, I don't have to worry about being hurt again, you know. Not to mention the fact that when she on the clip when she mentioned that she would not date the bus driver, I you know I, it was a little gut wrenching to me because that bus driver could actually be your quote unquote knight in shining armor. And just to backtrack on the whole deliver us from Eva, it could have been him riding in on a white horse. You know what I mean? He
hmm
may not be as financially, you know, uh, uh, flourishing as you would like him to be, but he may be financially stable to the point where he's comfortable in the life that he's living. So he may not be able to necessarily like, give you tons and tons of trips and live this jet setter lifestyle, but he may give you the core fundamental needs, mandatory needs that you need in order for you to thrive as a woman, in order for you to feel comfortable in your feminine energy, that you can let go and let someone else take the reins and take all of that, heavy load off of your shoulders. It's okay to let somebody else take care of you sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, and it was a very interesting thing. Then you look at when the topic of our show is have black women lost their grace. Everyone in the chat, anybody in the chat to have any questions, comments, statements that they'd like to add, you're more than welcome because we love that this is a group conversation. Right now, it just happened to be us two talking.
Right.
One of the things that is concerning is, you know how it used to be. Oh, you got a city job? The bus was a MTA, New Jersey Transit. If you got a job with them, you were quote good. You got a career. It's a blue collar career. It's amazing how society looks at, or not just society. Let's just say at this point, Ebony K Williams looked at the bus driver job as like no.
Well, you know what's so funny? My thing is you can't judge a book by its cover, right? That being said, I know some wealthy men that are fucking creeps.
Mm,
So it doesn't matter how much money someone makes. It depends on that person's values, morals, principles, characteristics, who they are. I mean, somebody can tell you who they want to be, but their actions, of course, are going to tell you who they actually are, and that's what you should judge someone by. Or you should. I want to correct judge. That's what you should measure someone by: their characteristics, their actions, and who they are, who they show you that they are. Like I feel like your words and your words and your actions should be in alignment. That tells you who that person actually is. So I don't care if it's Joe Blow that drives the city bus. If he's a good dude, he's a good dude. You can't take that away from him.
And it just she I don't know what was going on with her. Like I said, the interview just seemed a bit eerie. Like she seemed a little fiery. I guess Ayala wasn't answering the questions that she wanted the
Right.
answer to.
Right.
And like I said, I thought Ayala, when she even said it to her, like, yeah, we as black women lost our grace. Like
Right.
what's and Ayala, for lack of better words, if people really listened to what she was telling her,
She was schooling
she
her.
was
Oh,
spitting
she
game.
schooled her. What?
She was spitting some real
She
game.
surely did. She
Um,
surely did. I
and
love
I think
Iyanla
and I
Vanzant.
think that's one of the biggest things, melodic, that a lot of us don't have. We don't have older men, older women mentoring us, advising us. Not that our parents did or didn't do a good job or still ain't doing a good job, but sometimes you need an elder voice where
Right.
somebody's going to tell you, like, no, be a little gentle. You came
Well, I
off
think
a little
the problem is
harsh.
a lot of people nowadays think that they know it all. And if you know it all, then you served your purpose and you shouldn't be here. You always
Yeah.
need to leave room to grow. You don't know everything, and you shouldn't be at a point where you're above reproach. Everybody needs somebody to teach them. Everyone needs a mentor to a certain extent, because you, like, again, you don't know everything. People have experienced things way before you and have experienced way more than you.
She did say one thing. You know what? I'm gonna play it, but I just can't show it right now. I
Okay,
got my
let's do it. I love that. And then I would like to give some characteristics of black women and what we're known for and what we've been known for over time.
and let me know when you want me to stop it.
Okay.
I want to start,
Can you
dear,
hear it?
with something that we share, which is that we are both attorneys by trade. You are a
Yes.
lawyer, you have a legal background. And as women in the law, Ayanla, do you believe that lens, that legal lens, informs our perspective and the way we show up in the world as women?
Oh, absolutely. And that's why I got out.
Yeah.
very,
Okay.
very,
Mm.
very masculine, very intellectual, almost stripped and robbed of humanity. It really shows the dichotomy between the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. And for me, it just didn't feed my soul. And so I had to get out.
I feel that, and I do feel that I might have heard on a date or two, Ayanla, that we are not in a courtroom, Ebony. You can put the gavel down, and I do, I do feel it can spill over into the way I show up in my womanhood, which is really the center of this conversation today, Ayanla. We want to discuss masculine energy, feminine energy. I do want to start with kind of a news framing, which is that women's rights across the country, especially Black women's rights, they're under attack. Lots of laws are banning abortions. They are regulating what we can and cannot do with our bodies. What do you think happens for Black women when this type of siege is at play and we don't feel we have anyone to protect us?
Right. Well, the first thing I think we do is we go into anger. We go into anger without a clear ask. Doesn't make sense to be angry unless you got to ask. What is it that you're asking for? People can say anything in the world, but that doesn't mean that they get a right to do it. It doesn't mean that they get a right to affect you. But because so many of us are programmed and conditioned and educated to think like men, we respond like men. And when I mean men, I don't mean two-legged beasts. I mean in the masculine energy, and it becomes competitive, it becomes aggressive, it becomes againstness. And that's not who we are as women. It just isn't. And I think for Black women, particularly for us, the way that we've been programmed and conditioned and educated in the society to expect less, to accept less, to be angry and to complain, but to not really step into our authentic self, our authentic power as women, and create what we want, even if that's create the demand. Oh no, not here, not today.
Okay, I hear you articulating Ayanla's masculine energy traits, the competitiveness, the assertiveness. Tell me how you would frame feminine traits. Aggressive.
Grace.
Aggressive.
Yeah, aggressive, not assertive. It's okay for a woman to be assertive. Grace, first of all. I think we've lost our grace. We move in such a harsh and hard way. Grace, compassion, nurturing, nourishing, elegance. How about majesty? How about divinity? How about holiness? This is not a language you hear coming out of most women's mouths, but they'll talk about being a boss, being a diva, being, in charge. And many of us are either not seated in our throne as queens, or we're in the throne and the crown is crooked. Meaning we're in the throne and we don't really know how to hold that place without the masculine aggressiveness and demanding and attachment. And it's killing us. It really is.
Okay.
So in a recent interview with our dear friends over at the Breakfast Club that went very viral for very good reason, you said that women are being trained.
Okay, let's talk about it. Ooh.
It is just, I just think that Ebony was not expecting these answers. I don't
think she was either. I think she was looking for Ayanla to co-sign her rhetoric.
And she actually, Ayala, in her wisdom as an older Black woman, she was
graceful.
held Ebony's hand.
Right.
And what I mean by that is that she smacked her on the back, side, held her hand, and said, "Look, daughter, it's not your fault. You've been educated. Right. You've been trained this way. You've been programmed this way.
Right.
Society has made you this way.
Indeed.
It's okay. But from here on,
let me show you. Let's talk about this over here, because this is what you should be. This is what we were born to be.
Have some love.
Right. Indeed.
It's amazing that we speak about some women nowadays, and I'll just say women because this is a woman's topic today.
Right.
That you don't use these words to describe most women.
Absolutely. So okay.
Fatty. Oh, she's a boss. Right. She's a diva. Okay. Yes, queen. What are we talking about?
Okay, so let's go over our list of
these type of characteristics are not talked about enough. Excuse me.
Let's go over our list of characteristics. So I was sitting down and I was thinking about what Black women have been known to be, have been referred as over the years, and just what Black women are to me. I believe we are queens.
Hold on one second.
Yep.
Someone said, I love Ayala and I respect what she says. My rebuttal to her statements in this grace, compassion, majesty, etc. are traits that thrive in an environment of safety. Folks are quick to put this burden on Black women to lead these traits in a world where there is daily fight for many of us.
Right, and we're going to get to that. But let's just talk about some of the traits of Black women.
If you just have to give StreamYard permission to put your name up.
Right. Okay. So Black women have known to be graceful, powerful, resilient, goddesses, wise, persistent, beautiful, strong, nurturers, caregivers, and the glue that holds the family together. I think that now, in a lot of instances, we are missing that glue that holds the family together. But I also think that there are a lot of reasons for that. There are not a lot of marriages. They are not in the black community. There are a lot of single mothers. There are a lot of fathers that are do not either step up or not allowed to step up to be in their children's lives. So there are a lot of factors that play into why we can't bask in our feminine energy. Um, yes, we do. I do agree that black women are the most educated group in this country, but think about why we were propelled to be that in the first place. Yes, I definitely believe that we are go getters, but just because we're go getters, that does not discount the fact that we do need our black men. We do need, as you would say, the quote unquote nuclear family to thrive, to build generational wealth, and to thrive in this country, in any country in general. We have to be able to teach our children that we have to value one another and we have to build together. And it's nothing wrong with building with the opposite sex. We all play a role. It's like the yin and the yang. You play your position, I play my position, and we come together and we form a whole.
I think when you look at everything that you said, I agree. I agree that there are a lot of factors why a person may act the way they act. But all women don't act like that. All men don't act like that.
Right. But it's also not an excuse.
I think that's where from what I see, a lot of the women that don't have these characteristics, they make an excuse for the ones that do. Like Ayala didn't attack Ebony. I don't think she attacked Ebony. Mm-hmm. She just gave some examples, and I think it was more like we said, Ebony came in there with something, and I think Ebony felt attacked because Ebony, I believe that Ebony is the way she is because of situations. Though every situation that you said, like being going to school, being a lawyer, and it has made her harsh and bitter.
Sometimes situations can make you hard. I remember I walked away from a relationship, Q, because I recognized that if I was to stay with this person, it would make me hard. And I didn't want to be hard. I wanted to be able to be happy, to be free, to enjoy life and enjoy the fact that I am a woman and not always be walking on eggshells and just always being on the defense. My thing is if I'm in this relationship, I'm supposed to feel protected to the point that I can be who I am and who I was born to be. And I was like, yeah, I'm
but
good.
let me ask you, right? And this is something I asked actually in the group, and this is interesting. Why does it not you? And I'm not trying to say it's you. But sometimes you always hear a lot of men and women say, I can't be the best masculinity of myself unless I'm with somebody, or I can't step into my full feminine energy unless I'm with somebody. What does people say this?
Really?
People say this that I can't you won't see a woman fully step into her energy until she feels loved. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means, that you need someone else to perfect who you are.
I don't think it's that they necessarily need someone else to perfect who they are, but I think it's also about letting go of the reins and trusting someone else enough that you allow them to, to lead. I think that a woman being comfortable enough within her relationship, her marriage, to be submissive, I think that's amazing that you could actually trust somebody to that point, that you can give them the reins to guide and steer the relationship. And it's not that she's, that her opinion isn't valued, because that's not true. Her opinion is absolutely valued, but they sit back and they discuss things, and she trusts in that person to allow him to, make the decisions for the family. But I also feel like that has to do with you and that person being in alignment and having common goals and morals, etc. So that you know that this person is not going to make a crazy decision and take your joint life savings and blow it on some crazy business opportunity. You know what I mean? So I think that's a beautiful thing when you can open up and be yourself, and that goes for both people within the relationship.
You don't want to be like Ralph Crampton, buy a movie theater, buy a parking lot, buy a movie theater. Little did he know it was a drive-in movie theater.
No, not at all. Exactly. No, thank you.
Oh, he took it. Oh, Trixie was mad at him. I mean, Alice, whatever her name is. That was crazy. But I really think that this topic, as well as some other topics that we've went in past seasons, and I hate to use this word, I think it comes down to being able to be accountable as an individual, knowing who you are. And I think that
absolutely,
even when Ayala was saying to him, is this expectation. It's okay to have an expectation that you want your knight in shining armor, you want this, this perfect female and this, that, and the third.
Right. Well, perfection doesn't exist. Let's be honest.
For some people, it does in their head.
But the thing is, indeed, the thing is, you may meet someone who's perfect for you, and that's the beautiful thing. So yeah, I definitely know a lot of women who have. I remember.
Let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. And this is personal, but it's not evasive.
Okay. Oh boy.
I got 2 tickets. I got a ticket for you. I got one ticket. You and my road dog. 2 tickets. Is you and anybody that don't know, Melodic's son is her road dog. So I always call him her road dog. That's her ride or die. They do everything together, right? I got 2 tickets.
Mm-hmm.
You got an option to go see Ebony speak or Ayala speak. Where you going?
I'm going to see Ayala. Come on now, I'm definitely going to see Ayala.
Why?
Why? Because I feel like she has tons of knowledge, book smarts, and life lessons that I can, I can benefit from.
Yeah,
she's a mom. She's been married several times. She was a lawyer. She's had her own businesses. She has actually finessed these businesses into big enterprises, etc. Yeah, so she's someone that I would want to learn from. Whereas I think that Ebony is extremely intelligent. I think she has a thriving career, but I feel like she's a little lonely and possibly a little bitter from some of the things that she said. And no, I don't aspire to be any part of that.
All right, you can step on my toe after the show and get mad at me because I put you on the spot, but you was more than willing to answer that question quickly and thoroughly.
Yeah, for sure.
Ebony is somebody that, you know me, I'm a sapiosexual. I would love to have a conversation
with her. Absolutely.
I would love to chop it up with her to really just
I think she's entertaining. I think she's entertaining. I think she's extremely intelligent. I think she's a dope individual. I just really, I hope that she's taken some of the lessons that Ayanla was trying to give her, and tried to, use them to help better her situation when it comes to understanding the opposite sex. That's all.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
also understanding herself as a woman. When you remove yourself from being soft and pink, it's kind of hard to get back to that space.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm glad that we had this conversation.
I
I'm
am as
glad we,
well.
I think that I think two things from this conversation I learned,
Mhm.
um, and I kind of got it from Viv's question. I don't know why black women feel this burden on their shoulders. I don't know. I'm not a black woman. I'm a
Mm.
black man. But I always hear that black women have this burden. And I did get triggered during Ebony's statement when she first said, oh, women's rights are getting taken, black women's right in particular. And the first thing she said, black women's rights, was abortion. Where do we get this from? Like, that is
Right.
like,
But I would like you to expand on that. Black women feel like they have a burden on their shoulders. What, like, can you
you
clarify?
always whenever I notice that a lot of times when conversations like this is being had,
Mhm.
it's always a statement where when you're talking about black women as a whole, it's always like they feel like it's a burden on them, like all the pressure is on them. I don't think that black women and black men, to me, in my personal opinion, should feel separate. I think that I think that black men know exactly what black women are going through, and vice versa. I just think, and I want to use this word very carefully. I think we fall into victimization hood too quick, which 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 based off of what was done to us, we may have a right to. But sometimes be the victor. Like when you think about all the stuff that black men and black women, black American people have been through in this country, we're resilient.
We're absolutely well. Some of us are resilient. I would like to, yeah, point that out. Some of us are resilient, and some of us are not resilient. Some of us are actually exactly what they wanted us to be, which is divisive, um, at each other's throats, and just not looking to have a cohesive family structure. And that's pretty sad. But then you said you don't feel like black women and black men should be separate. But when you think about black mothers in this country, we have more single black mothers than anything else. That says a lot, Q. And
Single. What do you mean? What do you mean by single? Single is a relationship status. Are you mean the parenting status?
I mean parenting status. I mean single mothers who are not co-parenting because maybe the co-parent may not be available or be there. The co-parent may be dead. Co-parent may be in jail. Co-parent may just not participate at all. So sometimes some of these women do have heavy burdens on their shoulders. Not making excuses, but you have to look at the numbers, Q. There are not very many two parent
I'm gonna
households.
withhold what I really want to say for a second.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
Okay. Not to mention the fact that if you're holding the bag and you're taking care of everything, on top of that, you're working, for lack of a better word. No, I'm not even going to use that phrase. But if you're working all the time, so you're away from the home constantly, your kids are, with various different people throughout the day, including friends, teachers, caregivers, etc. You have all of these people influencing your children, and they see you working like crazy. And sometimes your kids feel a little neglected. The mom may feel like, oh my goodness, if I don't make this happen, or if I don't do this, then I'm not going to be able to take care of my kids. I won't have a roof over my head, etc. That's a lot of pressure. And let's be honest, that's not how it's supposed to be set up. You're supposed to have the two parent household where basically you're balancing out, that work life balance, etc. That parenting balance, and you're supposed to be a united front to your children. Like, we work together to cohesively make things better for the family, for the unit. And we don't see that often.
I was raised in a single mother home,
So was
and I will say, for me, I don't think that I don't perceive um that as a burden. I mean, it was what it was. It was it right? Maybe no. I'm one person that I love the nuclear family. I believe in the nuclear family. I believe that men just need to be more responsible. That's just who I am. I have been told I have very, very old fashioned values, which I don't know nothing else. I don't know, and it wasn't from my mother. It was, I had male figures in my life as well as my father was in my life. I never felt like I had for me, and I'm a man, I get it, but I never felt like it was a burden
for your mother
to no, or to take care of my family. I never, and I understand, like, this is what you got to do. You want to do certain
you feel like
things.
it was a burden for your mother to take care of you and your sisters on her own?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No. Now, there may have been some other things going on. maybe it was a burden for her at the time, but I don't think that was, the way that she parented wasn't more of a negative, and I'm not saying people are negative, but it was always.
I'm not saying that it's a negative. I think that the burden is on your shoulders, though, to make sure that you provide the necessities for your family. So I don't think it's the kids that are the burden. I think it's that the responsibility
because
and the heavy weight that's on that one person's shoulders when it should be two.
A person like Ebony in that interview, she sounds like she's burdened, like the world is on her shoulders, and that's what I'm like talking about. Like, you got a great career, you're not an ugly young lady. You got the world is your oyster. In my opinion, I'm just on the outside looking in. I don't know Ebony's personal life, but Ebony K Williams, you would think the world is out of hand. She can have whatever she wants.
And it probably is, in some people's eyes, it probably is. But she's probably also feeling like her biological clock is ticking. She wants to be loved in a certain way, and she's probably never been loved in that way ever in her life. And she probably doesn't even think that it exists because she's probably never had it. She probably wants to have a family. She probably wants to have children, etc. And that window is closing faster and faster by not having viable options to move forward with. So, I mean, yeah.
I'm going to act like this is a man asking this question, because I presume a lot of women grind and bear it. It's times when our mothers are alone and feel overwhelmed and stressed, we don't see it. It's a beautiful thing when a mother doesn't reveal that to her children.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that is not her reality.
For her. Exactly. That's the truth. That is the truth. You should never make adult issues the problem of your children. However, trust me and believe me when I tell you that it is not an easy job. And at times it can be a thankless job, especially when you deal with hormones and attitudes and just, teenagers, etc. However, you do it because you love your children, and you want to make sure that you make their lives better than your life was. That should be your goal. That should be your aspiration, to give them a better life than you've ever had. Everything okay over there, Keith?
Yeah, I did throw something at my cat. He was doing
Okay.
something.
I'm like, but no, it's definitely a heavy weight to bear when all of the responsibility is on you. My mom was a single mom as well, and she was absolutely my superhero. But as you get older, what you thought was her being a superhero was just her doing what she felt she was supposed to do. But then you also look at, just the weight of your job and the weight of the things that you have to accomplish on a daily basis. And you're like, oh my God, I don't know how she did it. And she must have been very, very overwhelmed at times. She must have been very tired at times, but she never showed it. So yeah, I think that a lot of people don't think about things like that, but we should definitely pay attention to that and pay, So that being said, I like I said, I think Ebony K Williams is a very intelligent woman, and I think that her career is thriving. But you can have all of the money in the world, but again, money doesn't keep you warm at night.
A body does. It could be. Some people say a company or that heating pad keep them warm at night.
Not a body, but a companion, a best friend, somebody that you can lean on and depend on, and you guys can depend on one another.
Yeah. Sometimes that resiliency to succeed in other aspects of your life, it comes with a mean sacrifice. And she may have been one of the people that sacrificed, and now she's probably regretting what she sacrificed for, because she honestly appears to be. I hope she's not angry, and that's just my wild perception. I hope she's happy as hell and life is great for her.
I hope so as well. I hope so as well.
I think
I want all of our people to succeed.
I think the grace thing, the question of the show is Black women lost their grace. I would say right now, I would say yeah. I would honestly say yeah.
I feel like some Black women have lost their grace, but I also feel like the burden is on other Black women who are, maybe mentors or maybe in a better position to help guide our sisters, through whatever challenges they're going through.
You got Sexy Red hate partying with the vice president. I'm sorry, Nick. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to throw that out there, but I mean, that's as graceful as it's going to be.
And then you have Viola Davis.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you have Angela Bassett.
Then you had my girl, the queen of all queens right now, Diana Ross. You had the women like Diane Carroll.
Right.
Beautiful.
So that to me, that's great right there. Felicia Rashad, Debbie Allen. Hello. That to me right there, that's grace. That's grace right there. That's what I definitely think in a lot of instances, that's what we're missing. But I definitely think that we need to grab on to our elders.
LaTanya Jackson.
Absolutely.
Grace.
Absolutely. Cecily Tyson, Grace. Maya Angelou.
Well, you wanted us to define grace, Viv. The grace, according to Ayala, is to have all these things.
Right.
All that love, compassion, understanding.
Right.
All that stuff.
Those characteristics that make up a Black woman.
He's basically saying Black women have lost their way compared to how it used to be, maybe when she was a kid or when she was a young adult. This is just her observation. And I kind of agree to an extent. Everything, and we understand, and I don't want to reiterate the show, we understand that certain circumstances are that way, but when you are out and about when you go to places like Wally World. Anybody that don't know, Wally World is what I call Walmart. When you're going to the stores, when you're intermingling with other, for me, black women, I am a very patient guy. I'm very cordial, very respectful, but sometimes you will get that person that is very harsh. And I'm quite sure other black women, just deal with it. So I kind of agree with Ayala to an extent, but then a lot of it has to do with the maturation process.
Indeed.
A lot of we don't use and take advantage of our elders to learn these type of lessons, learn how to handle their business and have that type of stuff, because they did all the stuff. They twerked. It just wasn't called twerking back then, but they twerked. They shook their butt.
There's a time and a place for everything.
Yeah.
There's a time and a place for everything. And sorry, twerking with the president. Yeah, like no.
Any final thoughts, Melodic?
I'm on the fence when it comes to Ayala's statement that black women have lost their grace. I think there are some very graceful black women that are still out there. I think that we definitely need to latch on to our elders, and we definitely need to latch on to those aspirational figures within our community and honestly try to emulate, the grace that they've exuded over all of these years. And just be better. When you know better, you do better. Be better. We can be better. We're capable of better. We've seen better. So strive to be that.
I can't follow up that with anything else. Appreciate everybody for joining us in the chat. Remember, this concludes another great episode of Conversations with Friends. Hopefully we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Make sure you share the episode. Make sure you let people know what's going on, the type of conversations that we're having, the mission of Conversations with Friends. We're more than welcome to invite anybody that has watched to the panel, want to come on, want to share their ideas, share thoughts. I'll read this last statement. One thing to keep in mind is that a lot of our elders that handle themselves with grace were also burdened with respectability politics, meaning that unless they carried themselves in a certain way, they weren't deemed fully human or worthy of safety. That's why this is such a layered conversation. It's Viv. Don't know how to get my name up there. Love this topic, Melodic.
Thanks.
Like I said, appreciate the conversation. Appreciate the comment, Viv. And
thank you, Viv.
Until next time, you guys. In 2 weeks, we'll see you guys. One of these days in the near future, we're gonna be together doing a broadcast.
Yes,
so it's gonna be very, very soon. The weather's about to break. We may do a show.
Out of hibernation.
We may do a show live and direct from Starbucks. With that, you guys, appreciate all you guys. You guys have no idea, the people that do watch the show, what we get out of having this conversation. And until next time, you guys take care.